The father of preventative medicine is 100 years old and still working. Coincidence? I think not. Hi there, thanks for joining us. I'm Jeff. JR is the producer, and this is episode 225 of Plain English. You can find the full transcript of this episode and all of our study resources by visiting plainenglish.com/225. On today's episode, we all know the basics of preventative medicine. Lead a healthy life today, and our risk factors for chronic diseases tomorrow will be a lot lower. Makes a ton of sense, but it hasn't always been that obvious. One of the researchers who is credited with establishing the field of preventative medicine recently turned 100 years old and is still working. That's today's topic. In the second half of the program, you'll learn the English expression to play a part, and JR has a song of the week. Remember to sign up for our email community. As soon as you sign up, JR and I will send you a series of emails over the course of a few weeks that are full of advice and tips and great resources for practicing English online in the 2020s. So you'll want to sign up for that by visiting plainenglish.com/mail, plainenglish.com/mail. Is being healthier one of your New Year's resolutions this year? Most people know that eating healthy, exercising, and not smoking are all good ways to lead a healthy lifestyle and prevent disease. But like many things we take for granted, that guidance hasn't always been so obvious. There is one scientist in particular that we can thank for much of this knowledge, Dr. Joseph Stamler, a researcher at Northwestern University. And would you believe that Dr. Stamler is still working at the age of 100? That's only appropriate, right? For one of the founders of preventative medicine. A lot of people attribute his long life and working career to his practicing what he preaches. But like a good scientist, he says that's proof of correlation, not necessarily causation. Even so, it's worth taking a look at the field of preventative medicine that Dr. Stamler is credited with advancing so much. The idea behind preventative medicine is that you can take proactive steps to prevent yourself from getting the big chronic diseases that kill lots of people prematurely. You can't prevent every disease. If you tried, you might never leave the house, and even then, you wouldn't succeed. But by making lifestyle adjustments and doing routine maintenance on your body, you can either stop yourself from getting a big killer in the first place or find it early enough to allow your doctors to treat it. Dr. Stamler's work focused on what was once the developed world's biggest killer, heart disease. When he first started working, many people believed that heart disease was largely attributed to old age. And old age does play a part, but it was Dr. Stamler's and other researchers' work that revealed there is much more to heart disease than just old age. And it was his research that gave us the insights that we now take for granted about protecting your heart, namely that exercise, diet, smoking, stress, cholesterol, blood pressure, and family history all play a part in a person's susceptibility to heart disease. Have you heard the term risk factors? You've probably heard it in a number of contexts, but Dr. Stamler was the one who coined that phrase in the field of public health. Risk factors are the things about you that affect the probability that something bad will happen. He developed that term and the research behind it while working with the Chicago Board of Health. He wanted to make sure people knew the causes of heart disease, the number one killer in the United States at the time. And sometimes that required looking several degrees of separation away. If one direct cause of a heart attack is high blood pressure, then what can a person do to not get high blood pressure in the first place? That led him to his recommendations on salt intake, for example. If your arteries get clogged from too much cholesterol, then what can you do to reduce that? Control how much red meat you eat and get your cholesterol tested. These are common sense today, but someone had to do the hard work that backs that up, and that largely took place in the second half of the 20th century. Dr. Stamler's guidelines are everywhere now, and heart disease has declined greatly since the 1960s, thanks in part to his work. The number of premature deaths due to heart disease has fallen by half in the developed world in the past 60 years. But knowing the risk factors is only a portion of the solution. You also have to follow the guidelines, and that's where so many people fall short. So, in this season of Fresh Starts, you might be wondering what diet has kept the father of preventative medicine alive for over a century. Dr. Stamler follows the Mediterranean diet, which focuses on fish, healthy fats, whole grains, and plenty of fruits and vegetables. Hard to argue with that. Dr. Stamler isn't ready to retire just yet. He and his team at Northwestern University are working on researching the factors that influence people's blood pressure. But if his colleagues want him to review their work, they need to send him a hard copy, no email. I'd like to say hello to a few listeners today. Claudio has a great story about English. He wrote to say that English has deeply affected and changed his life. He said it gave him new friends, a new job, and a changed mindset. I absolutely love that. And except for the new job part yet, I have experienced those exact same benefits. Also want to say hi to João Pedro from Goiânia, Brazil. He listened to our whole back catalog, over 200 episodes in just a few months, and now he says he doesn't even need the slow version, but he still listens because he loves it so much. I told João Pedro that he sounds like he's ready for Plain English Plus, since that includes the fast version of the program. One more today. Fernando is in Rio de Janeiro, and he is in medical school, and he's studying to be a cardiologist. I remembered hearing from him as I was writing this episode, so I had to say hello since this is right up his alley. I'm really happy to have Fernando, Claudio, and João Pedro in the audience. Today's expression is to play a part. What does it mean to play a part in something? An actor or an actress can play a part in a movie. That means they play a character in a movie. But that's not how we're talking about it today. Here's how you first heard it. Old age plays a part in your overall risk of heart disease, but other factors are more important. Besides old age, what other factors play a part in your risk of heart disease? Whether or not you smoke plays a part. Your diet plays a part. Whether you have high blood pressure or diabetes, these factors all play a part in your risk of heart disease. Got it now? If something plays a part, it makes a contribution or it has an effect. But we usually use play a part when it's important that one certain thing is not everything. It's not the only important factor. Old age plays a part in your risk of getting a heart attack, but it's not the only factor. It plays a part, just a part, and other factors also play a part. There are probably a lot of people who have played a part in your success in school when you were a kid. Who played a part in your childhood? Probably teachers, your parents, other relatives, coaches on sports teams, mentors, peers, friends, someone at church. Some of these people probably played a part in your success. And if you're like most of us, you probably had a few adults who played a bigger part than others. And for those people, you might emphasize that they played a big part in your success in school. So now you've heard that a person can play a part in something, and a regular thing can play a part. It doesn't have to be a person. So here's another example that's not a person. I was looking back at my budget for last year, 2019, and I found that my heating bills in 2019 were a lot lower than in previous years. And I live in a cold city, so what's up with that? Well, my travel schedule played a big part in my savings on energy bills last year. I was on the road a lot last year, and if I'm not at home, my thermostat keeps my apartment at a relatively brisk 62 degrees. When I get home, I turn the heat back up. So my travel schedule played a big part in my energy savings last year. The weather also cooperated. We had some cold days, but it wasn't nearly as cold as previous years, so the relatively reasonable temperatures also played a part, albeit a smaller part. Okay, quickly, as we wrap up today, JR has a song of the week, a recent one. It's by The Weeknd, and the song is Blinding Lights. I just listened to it for the first time, and the lyrics sound pretty clear. JR wanted to mix it up a little bit this week since we've had some old ones on lately. So Blinding Lights by The Weeknd is the song of the week today. That's all for today. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back again on Monday with a new episode for you. I can't wait. And hey, start off the new year right with Plain English Plus. We all have goals for the new year, and if English is among your goals, then you'll want to join us at Plain English Plus. This is our membership program that will let you improve your listening, your writing, your speaking, and your reading. There's so much to explore, so I want you to just go to plainenglish.com/plus, plainenglish.com/plus, and read all about what it means to be a part of our membership. This is the year to do it. This is the time right now in January. So come check us out at plainenglish.com/plus.